The Chosen continues to take our breath away with its Season 5. Hollywood is talking, and it's not about the next Marvel movie. It's about something deeper, something powerful, something unexpected. Celebrities, directors, musicians, and even global. Leaders are turning their eyes toward one show and not just watching it, they're obsessed. That show is The Chosen. But why? What's happening behind the scenes that's pulling the brightest stars in Hollywood toward a faith-based series about Jesus? Today we're diving into a world you didn't expect, where fame meets faith, and The Chosen is shaking up everything. Get ready, because some of these names will absolutely blow your mind. It started as a small project, a series about the life of Jesus funded by everyday people through crowdfunding. But now, The Chosen is one of the most talked about shows in, Hollywood. And no, this isn't some passing trend. This is a full-blown movement. On red carpets and podcast interviews backstage at awards, shows people are whispering about it. And sometimes they're shouting. It's no longer strange to hear. The Chosen being praised by stars who once seemed a world apart from anything faith-related. Let's start with Chris Pratt. This isn't just a one-off comment or a polite nod to religion. Chris has gone on the record time and time again sharing his faith and quoting scripture. And now he's linked up with Jonathan Roumie, the actor, who plays Jesus in The Chosen for prayer sessions, interviews, and faith-filled conversations on platforms like the Hallow app. Chris said it best, "If I was of this world, they would love me. But I'm not." And that's exactly what makes him and his obsession with The Chosen so compelling to fans. He's not following a trend. He's following something he believes in. And that belief is fueling this movement. But it's not just Chris. Behind the scenes at places like the SNL 50th anniversary party, The Chosen keeps coming up. Pedro Pascal, the man who stole hearts in The Mandalorian and The Last of Us, told Jonathan Roumie he hadn't watched the show yet, but that his godmother was obsessed with it. And that was enough for Pedro to promise he'd start watching right away. Imagine that one of the biggest stars on TV pulled into the world of The Chosen because of the quiet influence of family. Then there's the moment no one saw coming. Kim Kardashian meeting Jonathan Roumie. Yes, that Kim Kardashian. Say what you want about her, but the fact that she knows The Chosen recognizes Jonathan and hangs out with him at major industry events proves something huge. This show is everywhere. It's made its way into circles that used to be closed off to anything overtly spiritual. And yet The Chosen is not only accepted, it's admired. Talk about impact. Let's not forget about Mark Wahlberg either. This is a man who went from a troubled past, including prison, to a daily routine built on scripture, prayer, and discipline. He's another bold voice in Hollywood who refuses to hide his faith. And he's not just a viewer of The Chosen, he's a supporter. He even joked from the stage, pointing at Jonathan in the crowd, acknowledging the actor behind Jesus. That moment said everything. The Chosen isn't just inspiring its fans, it's drawing respect from some of the most respected. So what's happening? Here, why is The Chosen spreading like wildfire through Hollywood? The answer is surprisingly simple. It's real. It's raw. It doesn't preach. It tells a story, and in a world full of noise, that kind of truth stands out. But trust me, we've only scratched the surface. What happens next will make you see this show and its reach in a whole new light. There's something powerful happening beneath the surface of Hollywood. For decades, the entertainment industry has been known for pushing boundaries, sometimes glorifying fame, scandal, and success at any cost. But The Chosen is flipping the script. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it doesn't try to be cool. Instead, it's intimate, it's raw, it's human. And that's exactly why celebrities, many of whom are drowning in a sea of artificial lights and expectations, are being drawn to it like never before. Take Jonathan Roumie, for example. He isn't just an actor playing Jesus. For many in Hollywood, he's become a spiritual presence, a reminder that authenticity still matters. Russell Brand, a man once known for wild comedy and chaos, sat down with Jonathan in a conversation that shocked his audience. Russell opened up about truth, meaning, and redemption. And when Jonathan spoke about Jesus, Russell didn't laugh. He listened deeply. It was a moment that revealed something we don't often see in the spotlight: vulnerability. That's what The Chosen is doing. It's creating space for vulnerability even among the famous. Then there's Mel Gibson. Say what you will about his controversies, but his impact on religious storytelling can't be denied. When he praised The Chosen and publicly acknowledged Jonathan's performance, it sent a wave through Christian and secular audiences alike. Mel has been at the center of some of the most powerful faith-based films of all time, and now even he's recognizing The Chosen as a game changer. But it doesn't stop there. In the shadows of the headlines, celebrities like Justin Bieber have quietly embraced the show. Bieber has spoken openly about his love for Jesus, his struggles with fame, and his desperate need for something real. Sources say he watches The Chosen with his wife Haley and has even supported the show privately. In fact, there's buzz that Justin may have helped connect certain cast members with faith leaders and resources. He's not just a fan, he's a part of the movement. Even more surprising is the support from the Vatican. Yes, the Pope himself. Jonathan Rumi met Pope Francis in Rome, and what happened there left him speechless. The Pope reportedly praised his portrayal of Jesus, calling it a gift. Think about that, a modern actor playing Christ in a crowd-funded series receiving a blessing from the head of the Catholic Church. That moment wasn't just symbolic, it was a bridge. A powerful reminder that faith can move between screens and sanctuaries, from Hollywood sound stages to ancient cathedrals. And fans noticed. Suddenly, The Chosen wasn't just a Christian show, it became a global phenomenon. In places like Brazil, the Philippines, South Korea, and Nigeria, celebrities and public figures are sharing the show, quoting it, even crying over it on social media. One South Korean pop star posted a scene from Season 3's Sermon on the Mount and wrote, "I've never felt this close to God." That's the ripple effect. One show, millions of hearts. But what's truly remarkable is that this isn't about branding or image control. These celebrities aren't endorsing The Chosen because it's trendy. They're connecting to it because it's honest. It portrays the disciples as flawed, Jesus as approachable, faith as a struggle. And in a world where even fame feels empty, The Chosen offers something eternal, something no award can give. That's why when cameras stop rolling and red carpets go quiet, people like Chris Pratt, Justin Bieber, Mark Wahlberg, and Kim Kardashian are still watching, still crying, still hoping, because they see themselves in these stories, not as stars, but as human beings desperate for grace. And that's what The Chosen is really about. What we're witnessing with The Chosen isn't just a cultural moment, it's a possible turning point for the entire entertainment industry. For years, Hollywood has been driven by algorithms, profit margins, and shock value. Studios greenlight projects based on trends, not truth. But The Chosen broke every rule. It wasn't born in a boardroom. It was crowdfunded by believers, written with purpose, filmed with reverence. And now, it's being watched by millions, including the very people Hollywood thought wouldn't care: celebrities, executives, musicians, athletes, even atheists. Suddenly, conversations are shifting. Networks are realizing there's a hunger for depth, for stories that uplift, challenge, and redeem. And this shift isn't just about Christian content, it's about heart. It's about meaning. The Chosen is proving that you don't need to compromise your values to tell a compelling story. You don't need sex, violence, or scandal to keep an audience glued to the screen. What you need is truth, and people are starving for it. This isn't just speculation. It's already happening. Studios are now reevaluating their slates. Faith-based content is getting more attention. New series are being pitched as the next Chosen. Filmmakers who once hid their beliefs are now speaking openly, inspired by Dallas Jenkins' boldness. Some agents in Los Angeles are even reporting a spike in clients asking for faith-forward roles, not cheesy, preachy parts, but complex characters rooted in spiritual journeys. That's how deep this show is cutting. Even Gen Z, often labeled as the most disconnected or skeptical generation, is embracing The Chosen in droves. They're not looking for religion, they're looking for something real. And when they see Mary, Magdalene relapse, or Peter rage in grief, or Jesus weep with his disciples, they see a God who understands them. That's not just good storytelling, that's revolution. And here's the twist Hollywood never saw coming. It's not about fame anymore. It's about faith. Fame fades, but faith that endures. The Chosen is reminding the industry that art has a soul. That success doesn't have to cost your integrity. And that maybe, just maybe, Hollywood's future doesn't lie in the next superhero franchise or reality dating show. Maybe it lies in stories that heal, stories that reflect light instead of darkness. If that's true, then The Chosen isn't just a series, it's a spark, and it's already started a fire. There's something happening with The Chosen that most people still don't fully understand. It's bigger than just great acting or high-quality production. It's deeper than celebrity support or global streaming numbers. The Chosen has quietly become something rare in our world today, a spiritual lifeline. And for millions of people, it's not just a show. It's a reason to keep believing, a reason to hope again. In a world where entertainment often feels empty, shallow, or just plain dark, The Chosen breaks through with light. It reminds us of something we've forgotten, that our pain has a purpose, that we are not alone, that our story still matters. Whether you're a teenager struggling with anxiety, a parent drowning in bills, or someone who just feels lost, there's something in The Chosen that speaks directly to your soul. And that's not an accident. That's the whole point, because The Chosen was never about Hollywood success. From the very beginning, Dallas Jenkins said this project was God's, not his, not the fans. God's, and that decision to surrender control to walk by faith, not by sight, is what makes this series feel different from anything else on TV. Every scene, every line, every glance between characters carries weight. You feel it, and if you've watched even a few episodes, you know exactly what I mean. The moment Jesus locks eyes with Mary Magdalene and calls her by name, something shifts inside you. Or when Simon Peter falls at Jesus' feet, broken, ashamed, and Jesus lifts him up anyway. Or when Matthew the tax collector sits alone, despised by everyone, and Jesus simply says, "Follow me." These moments aren't just dramatic. They're sacred, and they're reaching people who've never opened a Bible in their life. But it goes even further. The Chosen is quietly changing the way people see Jesus, not as a distant religious icon, but as a living, breathing person who laughs, cries, dances at weddings, and walks with ordinary people through the messiest parts of life. And that changes everything, because for too long, faith has been packaged in rules and rituals. People have felt unworthy, judged, left out. But The Chosen flips that narrative completely. It says, "Come as you are. He's already chosen you." And that's why this show matters now more than ever, because we are living in a world that is breaking. Every day we see division, confusion, heartbreak, war, hatred. People are searching desperately for something true, something real, something that doesn't fall apart when everything else does. And The Chosen offers exactly that. This show isn't afraid to be raw. It's not afraid to show the doubts of the disciples, the fear, the failures, Thomas's heartbreak, Eden's grief, Judas's conflict. It shows Jesus not only healing the sick, but sitting with the lonely, crying with the hurting, and even turning away those who demand miracles without faith. This version of Jesus doesn't make everyone feel comfortable. He challenges the rich. He confronts the proud. He overturns the tables. And yet, he never stops loving. He never stops reaching. That's the kind of truth the world is desperate for. Not a Jesus who fits neatly into a box, but a Jesus who breaks every box wide open. And the impact. It's real. I've read the comments. I've seen the testimonies. People who say they were planning to end their life, but then stumbled upon The Chosen, and something pulled them back. People who say they hadn't prayed in 20 years, but after watching one episode, they found themselves crying on the floor. Families who watch together every Sunday night, using it as a way to reconnect. Parents who say their children now ask questions about Jesus, not because they were forced to, but because they saw him smile on screen. People who were raised in religion but never felt grace until they saw it in Jonathan Rumi's eyes. That's power. And not the kind of power that comes from Hollywood, the kind of power that changes hearts. And it's not just changing viewers, it's changing the people who make it. The actors, the writers, the crew. Many of them have shared how working on The Chosen has changed their faith, their marriages, their purpose. They don't treat this like just another job. They pray together, they weep together, they see miracles on set. This is a production led by prayer, not ego, by trust, not pressure. And that's why it feels so alive, because it's not just art, it's ministry, it's love in action. Let's not forget what happened during season 4, when production was suddenly halted because of a legal issue with the actors' union. Most shows would have collapsed under that kind of pressure, but not The Chosen. The cast and crew prayed. Fans around the world prayed. And somehow, within days, the situation turned. They got the exemption. Filming continued. That wasn't coincidence. That was God moving behind the scenes. And it proved something important. When God is in the middle, nothing can stop the story from being told. Now, as we look ahead to season 5 and beyond, we know things are only going to get heavier. The crucifixion is coming, the betrayal, the agony, the heartbreak, but also the resurrection, the hope, the victory. And maybe that's the most powerful thing of all. The Chosen isn't just walking us through history, it's walking us through our own journey, from fear to faith, from death to life. It's holding our hand in the dark and saying, don't be afraid, the light is coming. And so, if you've ever felt invisible, unloved, too broken, too far gone, this show is for you. If you've been hurt by religion but still long for truth, this show is for you. If you're not even sure what you believe, but something in your heart stirs when you watch Jesus smile, this show is absolutely for you. Because you've been chosen too. And your story is not over yet, as we look ahead to what's coming in The Chosen. One thing is painfully clear. The journey is about to get darker, heavier, more personal, because we know what's coming. The cross is not far off now. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the blood, the silence, the moment when all hope seems lost. For 4 seasons, we've watched Jesus gather his disciples, perform miracles, speak life into broken souls, and challenge the powerful. We've seen Peter wrestle with pride and pain, Matthew transform from outcast to beloved brother, and Mary, Magdalene walk a hard road of healing. But everything has been leading to this, the storm before the resurrection. And if you thought the earlier seasons brought tears, you are not ready for what's ahead. Season 5 is set to bring the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. But this isn't just a parade. It's the beginning of the end. The Sanhedrin is already sharpening their knives. Judas is beginning to change. The pressure is rising. The crowds that once shouted Hosanna will soon scream, crucify him. The very people who begged for miracles will abandon the miracle worker. The disciples who swore they'd never leave his side will run. And as we inch closer to these moments, it's going to hurt. Because The Chosen doesn't sugarcoat pain. It sits in it. It honors it. It makes us feel every tear, every doubt, every cry of why. And we'll see Jesus, not just as a savior, but as a man walking toward his death, fully knowing what's coming and choosing it anyway. That kind of love, that kind of sacrifice, it will undo you. But this pain, it has a purpose. The Chosen has always shown us that the lowest moments are not the end, that even betrayal and death are part of a bigger plan, that love wins even when it bleeds. So yes, we will see Peter break under the weight of his denial. We will watch Mary sob outside the tomb. We will feel the unbearable silence of Saturday, when the world thinks it's all over. But then, Sunday comes, and the stone will roll away, and everything will change. Because the resurrection isn't just a historical event in The Chosen, it's a reminder that no matter how dark it gets, no matter how broken we feel, the light is not gone. And that promise, it reaches through the screen straight into our hearts. And it's not just Jesus' story that will shake us. The disciples will face their deepest challenges. Eden is still recovering from the loss of her child. Her marriage with Peter is fragile. And as Jesus spends more time in Jerusalem, the distance between them will grow. But maybe that's the point, because faith is not born in comfort. It's born in the fire. Thomas, still mourning Rama, must now decide whether to follow Jesus into certain danger. Judas, torn between his belief and his own ambition, is walking straight toward a decision that will change history forever. And Matthew, once so logical, so sure of his calculations, will be asked to believe in the impossible. Their pain will be our pain. And yet, so will their hope. Behind the scenes, Dallas Jenkins and his team are pouring their hearts into these final seasons. Every line of dialogue, every emotional beat is carefully crafted not to entertain, but to awaken something in us. This isn't about fan service. or shock value. It's about telling the most important story ever told in a way that feels alive, real, urgent. And it's why every delay, every obstacle, every spiritual attack the production team has faced has only made the final product more powerful. Because when a story this holy is being told, of course it's going to face resistance. But here's the miracle. It keeps moving forward anyway. Season 6 will likely bring us to the trial, the cross. The moment the sky goes dark and the world holds its breath, it will be brutal, it will be raw, and it will be honest. Because, see, the chosen refuses to look away. It doesn't sanitize the crucifixion. It doesn't downplay the horror. It shows the cost, the agony, the loneliness. And yet, it will also show the love, the forgiveness. The moment Jesus looks down at the very people who nailed him to the cross and says, "Father, forgive them." That's what makes this show different. It doesn't just show you what happened, it shows you why it matters. Then, in the final season, Season 7, we will see the beginning of the church, the rise of the apostles, the explosion of faith across the world. We'll see Peter stand boldly on the day of Pentecost. We'll see lives transformed not by force, but by love. We'll see that Jesus' story didn't end with death. It exploded into life. And that movement, it's still happening now. Through this show. Through you. Because you're part of this story too. Every time you share an episode, every time you tell a friend, every time you cry during a scene or pray for the cast or support the show in any way, you're helping spread that same message the disciples risked everything to share, that Jesus is alive, that he sees you, and that he has not forgotten you.